This year we'll have some new faces at the event. Faces that have brought joy, hope, and a little curiosity to our whole community.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Teacup Trail. We are on episode 8 of season 6 of When Calls the Heart. I wanted to start off with that scene of Elizabeth writing in her journal. Sometime when we see Elizabeth write, she tells us what she is feeling, what she is thinking, and she tells us what she is going through at the moment. I just wanted to point out about when she talked about Lucas, when she wrote in her journal, she was telling us about how Lucas brought curiosity into Hope Valley. I thought it was an interesting term to describe the situation that she is in with Lucas. Lucas does bring this mysterious vibe, and Elizabeth seemed to be very curious as who he really is and what are his intentions in Hope Valley, especially with the library.
I think you should have the honor at the ribbon cutting ceremony.
Oh, well, thank you, but I really think you should be the one to do it.
No, we wouldn't even have a library to begin with if you hadn't donated the building.
Yes, but you are the inspiration. What about this? We'll cut the ribbon together. What do you think?
Sure.
Lucas, there's a call for you from Cape Fullerton.
Thank you, Fiona. I will be by later to help you with the library. And I will leave you to your planning.
I'm not sure if you think the same about what I'm going to say, but I just did Lucas just said it out loud that he might be interested in her? Like, he indirectly told Elizabeth that he likes her. Like, when he said that you the inspiration, Elizabeth just looked at him in a weird way, and she just did he mean that in a general way, or did he mean that as he doing all of this just for Mimi? So yeah, it's just I feel like Lucas said a big clue out loud, but in the indirect way. One more thing in that scene when Lucas advised that he and Elizabeth should have the ribbon together, Elizabeth seemed to feel not comfortable in that quick second. She probably doesn't want to look like a couple-y thing, a man and a woman, both unmarried, cutting a ribbon together at the grand opening. And also she probably doesn't want to draw attention from the crowd if she does cut the ribbon together with Lucas. Yeah, it's just Elizabeth seemed to really want Lucas to cut the ribbon by himself just because he donated the building for the new library, which makes sense, but Lucas encouraging her to join with him seemed to create a bit of a setback and uncomfortableness for Elizabeth. Not a bad thing, but Elizabeth just thinking twice in her head, okay, sure, I don't know why, but sure, I would cut the ribbon with you. Yeah, I think Lucas really did say a big clue when he said you the inspiration. That definitely set the tone for the rest of the season.
He's coming after us.
Wait until the line is clear.
They know you're in Hope Valley.
Okay.
So what are you gonna do?
I'll figure it out.
Lucas.
Goodbye.
You're probably thinking, how does this relate to the love triangle? I wanted to lay out the foundation of a bigger story that will happen later in this episode. You can still see Lucas do not trust anyone in Hope Valley. Fiona is still curious as to what is truly going on with Lucas. Lucas still has that mysterious vibe going on, and the way he acted in the scene, especially if you're a first-time viewer watching this scene, you're probably thinking, okay, is he really a bad guy, or is there something good in this situation? And we will find out later on.
What happened?
Oh, the children did their best, but they're not exactly first-rate carpenters just yet.
Oh. Wow, it's really coming along in here.
I know. I can hardly believe that the grand opening is right around the corner.
Yes, that's all Allie's been talking about.
She's really quite the reader.
Well, you're quite the teacher.
Okay, I have to be honest with this scene. When Lucas and Nathan arrived, I automatically knew there was going to be a love triangle. I honestly went for Lucas because, I mean, if you love Lucas at who he is, you understand why I went for Lucas. But in this scene, Nathan and Elizabeth, this was like the first time I saw something between them as like a spark or as a romance that possibly becoming a real thing. And I was so hot in the middle between Lucas and Nathan after this scene, because I was like, okay, I felt that, and I truly believe that Elizabeth felt it too, what Nathan felt in that scene. And I got really confused, but I stuck with Lucas after this season, but this scene really caught me like very deep. I'm like, oh shoot, like this is tough. I mean, both men, they do have their strengths and weaknesses, and we will see more of that as we go forward. But in this scene, I truly would team Nathan for just like 1 minute. But that's my honesty. Don't bite me. But I just want to share my honest first time impression when I watched this scene for the first time.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. If you need any help with the shelves.
I'll manage, thank you.
Okay. Good day.
I don't know what to say besides that for this scene. I think this scene is very visual, like you understand what's going on. Nathan was just in the right place at the right time when Elizabeth screamed from the library, and he came inside to find out what was going on and came to rescue Elizabeth. Bonus point for Nathan, he got the opportunity to have an intimate moment with Elizabeth in that scene. Allie seemed to be adjusting very well to the school life in Hope Valley. It sounds like Allie is telling Nathan great stories about her school and her new friends and Mrs. Thornton. I really like this confident Nathan. At first he seemed very reserved, but he started to open up a little bit more, especially when he's with Elizabeth. They have that comfortable level in the friendship. Nathan seemed to get more interested in Elizabeth as the time goes on, and we will see how that goes. But there's definitely some sparks between Nathan and Elizabeth, and I really like this confident Nathan, and we'll see if that sticks around.
Lucas.
Hi.
Hi. I had a bit of a mishap at the library.
Did anyone get hurt?
No, but a shelf fell down. You're closing up the saloon.
Everyone needs a break every now and then, including my staff.
Take it there's no point in me asking where you're going, right?
Everything is okay. Or it will be.
Lucas, if you're in some kind of trouble...
I'll be fine. If you'll excuse me.
This episode, I feel like, is one of the most controversial episodes in the entire series. I say that because this episode, it just gives you a lot more answers of who Lucas is and about his past. Lucas came to Hope Valley with a mysterious past, and no one knew where he came from and what he did before Hope Valley. And this episode tells you the answer whether he's a good person or a bad person, and how this episode will affect him, his character in relation to the love triangle. This scene, Lucas still do not trust anyone. If Lucas is interested in Elizabeth in a romantic way at this point in that scene, I would say that he doesn't trust her yet, but at the same time, he doesn't want to harm her. He wants to protect her, and he wants her to not know about this situation, because the more that Elizabeth knows, the more danger that she could be in, especially with her infant son that she has now. So Lucas still do not trust anyone in Hope Valley. He's trying to handle this situation on his own. At the same time, he doesn't want Elizabeth to be in danger, so he kept this situation to himself. And sometimes that's a good thing, but sometimes it's a bad thing, and we will see what happens later in this episode.
What's the matter?
It's Lucas. He just left town. He got a call this morning, and Fiona said it really shook him. It was from a woman saying that someone was coming after them.
Sounds like he's hightailing it.
He has a gun. And he didn't look like a man running from trouble. Looked like he was running to it.
Where was he headed?
The call came from Cape Fullerton, and that's the direction he's heading.
How was he traveling?
Horseback.
Elizabeth's relationship with Nathan has many aspects, and one of them is that Hope Valley citizen to Mountie relationship. So anything that is troubling that is going on in Hope Valley that may jeopardize the safety of the town, she automatically go to Nathan, because Nathan is now the Mountie. Interesting, Elizabeth walked in and she had that concerned look on her face, and Nathan read her facial expression and knew that something was wrong. And when Elizabeth told Nathan that it was about Lucas, I sensed that switch in his mind, because when Nathan first met Lucas, Nathan had a bad first impression of Lucas, and that stuck with Nathan up to this point, and he still do not trust Lucas in this moment, in that scene. So I sent like a switch in Nathan's mind, like, okay, put my personal feeling about Lucas aside and let's deal with this situation that Lucas is in. He's still a citizen of Hope Valley. I should be nice enough to care about this guy and help him out.
You know, little things like the fact that he set fire to her business. I was a block away, I saw the smoke, and I was able to get her up before the ceiling collapsed. Amos went to jail, but now he's out, and he's after us both.
Lucas, listen, it's a long ride to Cape Fullerton. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time you got there, he was gone. And even if not, then what? You could end up in jail. Or worse.
Nathan gave Lucas the opportunity to explain himself in this scene. It's like Nathan pushed aside his personal feeling for Lucas and willing to help Lucas resolve this matter. And Nathan seemed to open up to Lucas and willing to listen to what Lucas had to tell Nathan about this situation. I feel like there was that click in Nathan. It's like, oh wow, Lucas really not a bad guy. He really saved this female friend from a fire. It's like a moment of Lucas redeeming himself in front of Nathan. Nathan always had this negative impression on Lucas, and in this scene, I feel like it's a redeeming moment for Lucas. in front of Nathan. Like, Nathan, I'm really not a bad guy. Like, I know I came to Hope Valley and everyone has questions about who I am and my past and where I came from. So there's definitely a moment of Lucas redeeming himself in front of Nathan. And Nathan really nice to come out all the way to that point in the middle of the woods, finding Lucas. And Nathan also brought this common sense. Like, he's a Mountie, so he's like calculating in his head like what's the best thing to do for the safety of Lucas and his friend. Nathan persistently encouraged Lucas to go back to Hope Valley. It might sound a little bit harsh, but Nathan really wants Lucas to be safe as well as his female friend. We will talk more about this episode in the next video. We will start off with the conversation that Lucas and Nathan had on the way back to Hope Valley. Lucas said something that are very important to listen to, and also the long scenes in the saloon. That would be quite a lot to talk about. There are quite a few little details to point out. So if you enjoyed this, comment your thoughts about this episode. Yeah, we are this close to the end of season 6. I made it this far. I hope you're having a great weekend. I'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.